saw Moussa Dembele involved in the training session, so he's completely available for the game. Ade, we decided not to take him into the training session, but there is a slight possibility that he can make it. Tom Hiddleston has made his return to training this week, so hopefully get him fit from his month's absence. But he won't be involved in this game, and Kabul, Dempsey and Sandro still out.
Quali sono le novità per quanto riguarda i giocatori a disposizione? Dembélé si è ripreso, si è allenato stamattina e quindi lui potrebbe giocare. Hudson è tornato ad allenarsi dopo un'assenza di un mese, comunque non giocherà. Per gli altri giocatori Kabul e Dempsey poi vediamo, però forse non sono veramente pronti.
Do you go into this match fielding your strongest possible team, or do you have an eye on Liverpool on Sunday?
No, we've taken this approach in the competition, and it's not now that we're going to change it. We feel confident about it. We had enough time to recover for this game. We have enough time to recover after the Inter Milan game for the Liverpool game, and so on and so forth. So our approach won't change a bit regarding what we feel towards this competition.
Looking at your situation in the league, you're third at the moment. Is second still something that you can realistically aim for? Can you catch City, do you think?
Yeah, it's very difficult. We are faced with a tough calendar ahead of us. I think obviously we receive Man City in White Hart Lane, but they are a top side, England champion. Very, very difficult to play against them. At the moment, our focus is on increasing the distance for the people who are behind us, without looking too much over people who are ahead of us and competing for the league as Man City and Man United are. So our focus at the moment is on increasing this distance towards mainly fifth place, because it's what can ensure us Champions League qualification.
You said your focus is increasing that distance. Just looking ahead, I don't know whether you have done though, do you think Tottenham can be potential title challengers next season?
But I think it's very difficult. Yeah, hopefully it's so much still to go on, and one thing is related to the other basically, because if we achieve Champions League qualification on third place or fourth with playing the preliminary rounds, obviously the money available will be different regarding our challenge and the players that we can attract also. So I think it's one thing is related to another. I think that we've seen some great steps mainly from the club and its structures towards the future. That's the position where we want to be. If it's going to be next year, we can only think of, but it's intimately related to what happens this year.
Gareth Bale continues his stunning form for the club. He's been compared to the likes of Messi and Ronaldo, which must please you, I'm sure. Do you think he can achieve everything he wants to achieve in his career at a club like Tottenham?
Yeah, hopefully, the steps that we've taken towards the future, and as I was speaking about, are with great infrastructures and the structures that surround the people involved in the club, making it better and more smooth to a top European side. Obviously, the growth of the club is dependent on the amount of trophies that you can win and the prestige associated with the club. That comes by Tottenham eventually in the future being able to win titles. We just hope that we are able to deliver them. We are speaking about two players that are involved with clubs. One has 9 European League titles, the other one has 4. And it's the tremendous successful clubs. I think in between them 50 titles, 50 league titles. So it's a different, at the moment it's a different proposition. You can only think of Tottenham in the future, in the next 20, 30 years. And by that time Gareth has finished his career. But hopefully we can achieve some recent success. That's the only thing I hope for.
He was pictured at Old Trafford yesterday.
Yep.
Did you know he was going?
Yeah, we spoke about it in the afternoon.
Spurs fans shouldn't be worried, no?
No, I think it's a great game of football, and I have no problem with it.
Did you mention it to him this morning? Did you?
Yeah, we spoke about the game. Yeah.
Okay. Fear Gareth Bale, considering what happened when you last played them.
Yeah, a lot of things have changed, in Spurs and also in Inter Milan. I think Gareth has become has evolved as a player. He's even more threatening now. We are sure that Inter Milan are aware of his strengths. We have to be very, very cautious also with Inter Milan. They have been European champions recently. They are going through a tremendous reshuffling of their squad, which they've done properly and invested in young players towards the future. But still continuing there to be aiming for titles like they used to. So I think this last 16 teams, probably Inter Milan represents the best of the best, for what they have achieved recently, and has given us the possibility to play another level of Champions League tie like we had against our opponent, like we had against Lyon. So we are aware that nothing is going to be decided in this first leg. We need to be very, very cautious and take the game to the second leg, and hopefully with an advantage that enables us to go through.
Last one, Danish.
Andre, you've always taken this competition seriously,
Yeah.
but the Europa League has often come under criticism in recent times. How do you think UEFA could make it more attractive? Could it perhaps offer the winner a route into the Champions League, perhaps into
I don't know. Possibly, it's very, very difficult. I mean, it gives access to the UEFA Super Cup, which is excellent, I think, already. I'm not sure if they can go on further than that. Could be something interesting to further enhance the quality of the competition. It could be an idea. I'm sure that they are discussing all those possibilities. I think it's still a very, very respected competition in most of the countries. Maybe less in this one, but I think something is changing too regarding the way this country approaches and treats the competition.
The back, then David.
Buongiorno mister. Quanto pensa che potrà incidere Gareth Bale su questo incontro?
No, sulla prima domanda io penso che hanno passato un paio di anni già sulla ultima prestazione di Bale a San Siro, e per quello lui adesso gioca in un'altra posizione, è diventato un giocatore ancora più importante e più completo. Io sono sicuro che è un giocatore che può fare la differenza, come noi abbiamo visto sulle performance che ha fatto nelle ultime gare. Sull'aspetto di giocare con l'Inter è ovviamente molto emozionale per me, per quello che io penso dal club e della forma come sono stato, come le persone mi hanno accolto lì, persone che io parlo ancora con 2 o 3 volte a settimana, persone importanti che significano tanto per me, e per quello i ricordi sono molto, molto grandi. Io ho passato lì 1 anno e mezzo, però è stato 1 anno e mezzo pieno di significato, perché mi hanno accolto bene, mi hanno lasciato andare via quando ho trovato l'inizio della mia stagione, e sono persone che ho rimasto in contatto. Allora tutti i ricordi che ho sono ricordi veramente buoni. Non penso che può essere un vantaggio giocare contro di loro sull'aspetto che io conosco della squadra, perché la squadra ha cambiato tanto. Ovviamente ci sono i giocatori esperienti che erano lì nei tempi che io ero con José, però la squadra ha cambiato tanto negli ultimi 2 anni, e per quello adesso giocano in un modo diverso, e sono io penso che imparando un nuovo modo di giocare con tutti questi nuovi giocatori che hanno trovato loro. Niente.
How much do you think Gareth Bale can influence the tie over the two legs, particularly in light of his performance at the San Siro? And how do you feel playing against a team, club, where you spent some fairly important months and years of your life? And do you feel that the fact that you know Inter and you spent some time there yourself, do you feel that that can help you as well in this tie? Well, first and foremost, with regard to Bale, you know, we're 2 years on at least, several years on from when he played against Inter. And I think he's become a different player. He's in a different position now. He's perhaps a bigger player and more complete. But certainly he is the kind of player who can determine the outcome of a game, I think, as we've already seen in recent matches. For me, playing against Inter is a pretty emotional experience, I would have to say. I spent time at the club. I was made extremely welcome by the people I met there. I still speak to some people there, perhaps even 2 or 3 times a week. So it means a lot to me. I have very good memories. I spent 18 months there. I was well looked after. They allowed me to leave when the time came for me to leave. All of my memories that I have are very good ones. How much my knowledge of Inter can influence the game, I'm not really too sure. I don't, of course, know all of the players. There's been a lot of changes there. Only a few of the old guard, as it were, who were there when I was there with Jose, are still around at Inter, and they have lots of new players, and they're learning to play a different way and adopting a different style. So they're a different team, basically.
David?
I was going to say something similar, actually, but can you just reflect on your time at Inter, and can you say how difficult a decision it was to actually leave when you did, and also maybe talk a little bit about how important it was in your evolution as a coach?
Yeah, it was a difficult moment of my professional life. You know, at that time I was scouting for Jose, and you know, we had the conversations because I wanted to be a little bit more involved with the first team training. Jose has always seen me, you know, doing the job that I was doing for him throughout his career, and basically we had a shot that you know, our contract in Inter Milan together would be the last one, because after that I would be following on. You know, eventually later that year came the first proposal from a club, which I studied. It didn't go through in the end. It came a bit later, the year after, with Academica, and things were very, very smooth after that. It was I think it was a difficult step to go, bearing in mind, you know, all of the things that I have access to when I was in Inter Milan, the knowledge and the experience with Jose. But you know, to change it for the possibility of beginning my career was something that I wanted very, very much. And that's why I decided to take the risk and left. I think you know, reflecting at that time, it was probably the right decision, but it was very, very difficult at that time to make it.
Tell us what Emmanuel Adebayor's injury is, and also can you just reflect on where you were when Gareth's performances in the 2 matches against Inter? Where were you watching it, and what were your impressions of that performance?
Ade did an hyperextension of the knee, so he still feels you know, a little bit unstable. You know, so that's the only reason why he's still a doubt towards the game. I think definitely a certainty regarding the Liverpool game, but a doubt regarding this one. On where I was, I have no idea. I remember seeing you know, the highlights of the game into Tottenham and how it went, and how you know, the way that Tottenham came back into the game late on. But you know, I can't recall where I was at that time. Yeah, it was, you know, obviously he was always an extraordinary young player coming through. You know, to have developed to a world-class player like he is now is obviously down to his talent and his ability and his willingness to triumph. If he's taken the right steps at an early age, he's been involved with a lot of first team football since he was 16, 17, and now he's developed into a world-class player.
Andre, does the time come at all with Gareth, the influences exerted over the past few matches, where you consider resting him for a game here, for a game there, just to make sure he stays fresh all the way?
No, he's fine. I think that, most of the players feel absolutely fine and fresh. The distance that goes from the Premier League game to a Thursday Europa League game is absolutely fine, and most of them responded extremely well. There is more risk, obviously, from a Europa League game to a Sunday game, but we've used that experience recently, and most of them have done fine. Obviously, there is a problem when you get into the later stages of the sporting year, that the overall tiredness of the players can have an influence. But most of them have been rotated or not involved and are feeling fresh at this time.
Gabriel, then Darren, then we'll move on to Jermaine.
Inter have a very young manager in his first experience in Andrea Stramaccioni. You still are a young manager, but you were an even younger manager at Academica and at Porto. Are there any parallels that you see between your experience and his experience? And can you talk a little bit about some of the challenges, being so young in quite an unusual position at a big club?
Yeah, well, I think he has obviously gained the right from that first year after Ranieri to this to the contract that he has now in Inter by his own right and his achievements. He has done extremely well because he's at this time competing for the Italian Cup and competing for the Europa League. Maybe not the league this year, but a Champions League spot is still there after their win in Catania. So I think all down to merit because of the position that he found himself on is very difficult. There is constant comparisons to Jose and what he has achieved for any manager that lands in Inter Milan, and to cope with that pressure, I think is an example, the way that he has done it and what he has achieved. Obviously, our careers are a bit different. As Andrea had a spell as a player, which I never had. But I think probably one of the hopefully a potential great manager in the future.
Just on the back of the parallels between yourself and Stramaccioni, and there is a similarity, between Spurs and Inter Milan, so much as they are fighting for a Champions League place as well, with something like 6 teams. So all the questions about whether you can cope with 2-3 games in a week are similar for them as well. I think they play Bologna on Sunday. And also, having worked closely with Maicon, were you surprised at the impact that Gareth Bale had against him?
I think regarding the first question, I think it's possible. I think what Tottenham has shown this season is an example that contradicting lots of science or science fiction, that there is enough rest time between a Thursday game and a Sunday game. Obviously, the intensity of the Premier League is not comparable to the intensity of the Italian league, because that's the reality. I think the demands of the Italian league in terms of mental stress are bigger than in England, because the players have to be thinking about all the time their positioning, the tactical positioning, and it's a different league altogether. But regarding the rest time, we never had problems, and Jermaine will be able to tell you that, because he's been through that experience this season, and from a Thursday to a Sunday game, most of the team has been able to not only play well but feel well, and I think that creates an habit on the players regarding their recovery process. On the second part of your question, I think. Maicon was an extraordinary right back, probably one of the best right backs, Brazilian right backs in the world, alongside Cafu and Jorginho. Is reaching now probably the end of his career. He has achieved so much. A player of great dimension. To see at that time a young player like Gareth, being able to play so well against him is, obviously something that recognizes even more the talent of Gareth going into the future. Maicon was always a great player of the world.
Ma un po' come Tottenham.
Thank you. Move on to Jermaine now. Cheers.